life can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming, and it's so easy to lose sight of all the positive things in life, especially as time goes on and the weeks go by, and all we seem to sometimes focus on are all the challenges or the struggles or the negative things. And I think sometimes it's good to just take a bit of time to reflect on some of the things that bring us joy in life. I try to do this every week, if I'm honest. I don't always succeed, but I try to sit down at least once a week and reflect back on what's been good that week and what's brought me joy. And at this time of year, as we head to the end of the year, I think it's a really good opportunity to look back and reflect on the last 12 months and find things that have brought us joy. So in this video, I wanted to share some of the things that I've been reflecting on that have absolutely brought me joy in 2024. I've kind of broken them down into categories: people, products, although I'm not massively a product person, so some of these are more gadgets than products, but they're things that I've enjoyed using. Experiences is another category, hobbies, and then some that have been pretty life-changing. So, hi, if you're new here, I'm Bev. On this channel, I share what it's like being a Gen X woman heading towards 60 and what it's like having late diagnosed ADHD. And the things that I've learned in my nearly 60 years on this planet, in the hope that maybe they'll help you or potentially have you thinking about things maybe a little bit differently, or just purely for entertainment. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please do consider giving me a like and subscribe to the channel. It's a great way to help support my channel and to help keep me creating these videos. Okay, let's dive into the first category, which is people. So I absolutely have to start this video with the little people in my life. The one particular little person in my life, my granddaughter Connie. She's absolutely the joy of my life. We are so fortunate and privileged to have my granddaughter living very, very close to us. We get to see her pretty much every day, and she's now 9 years old and she's just an absolute joy. She also, I believe, has ADHD, which, is going to bring its challenges for her. But alongside the challenges, what we see is this amazingly creative, funny, kind, she's just the most kind-hearted child. And she's quirky and fun, and she's a chatterbox, and we love her for it. And she has this ability to just empathise so well. For somebody so young, her ability to pick up on how somebody's feeling and just know exactly the right thing to say at the right time is quite incredible. She inspires me every day, and she just knows exactly when you want to be made to laugh or when you need a hug. The second person in my life who brings me joy has got to be my husband, Mark. He's there for me all of the time. We are very different. We are genuinely like chalk and cheese. I have ADHD. I'm fairly certain he has autism. And the two, that we do find it a challenge sometimes. Communication can sometimes be a bit of a challenge. We sometimes feel like we're on two different planets. But we've been together now for 32 years and we are best friends. Try not to be cliched. We really are soulmates. He is my best friend. We just rub along so well. And actually this last year it's been a little bit different. It feels as if we've had more time to spend together. We're starting to travel more, so we're spending more relaxed leisure time together. He is a bit of a workaholic. He loves working. So pinning him down to slow down and not work isn't always easy. But when we do, and this last year has given us more chance, I think, to to really spend time together. And I'd be pretty lost without him, if I'm honest. He's very practical where I'm not. He's very logical where I'm not. He's very sensible where I'm not. All of the things that I'm not, he is. And equally, you know, that goes both ways. So we sort of fit together a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, I guess. And yeah, it's, you know, this last year, having more time together has been an absolute joy. Friends, I don't have a lot of friends. I have lots and lots of acquaintances. And I'm starting to realise more and more that I'm quite an introvert. So big groups of friends really don't appeal to me. They never have, but I don't think I've ever sort of acknowledged that and owned it. So the friends that I do have are really important to me. And I have probably a handful of really, really good friends that I don't see very often. And I know they're good friends because when we do get together, it's as though we sat chatting to each other yesterday. We pick up exactly where we left off. One of my best friends lives in Saudi Arabia at the moment, and we don't really keep in touch while she's away, but when she comes home we get together. A lot of my other friends are business acquaintances, or were business acquaintances that have become friends. And just being able to meet up, you know, for coffee or lunch and be able to relax and be able to share some of the challenges that we have, especially in business. It's always good to have business friends who understand what you're going through. They've been priceless, and I've had so many lovely catch-ups with friends. As I say, I don't have loads and loads of friends. I don't feel the need to have lots of friends. I think I'm probably a bit antisocial like that. But just, you know, knowing that there are a handful of people who I trust implicitly, who I would rely on and be there for as well at the drop of a hat is something that absolutely does bring joy and has done this last 12 months. The next up is my online communities. I have a little Facebook group, and the ladies in there are lovely. But YouTube this year has really sort of opened up a community that I didn't know was out there. And I've made some really lovely, I will say friends, online friends, people I've never met in person, but I feel like I've got to know and really have enjoyed getting to know more about them. And I'll link to some of their channels below, but those that come to mind, and apologies if I miss anybody, but these are just off the top of my head. Tracy Lippert from Mini Scenes GB, we met online, and she has a crafting channel. She also has another channel, sort of a Gen X type channel. She's lovely. We've done a couple of live streams together, and she's so down to earth. I just really, really love her. Jen Gold, who has a YouTube channel. She's autistic. Well, actually, she's ADHD and autistic, and she's a school teacher, and she's sharing her journey of, you know, her late diagnosis. Tina has a beauty channel, and again we've done live stream, and she's just lovely. She's very she has a lovely channel, sort of a beauty channel, and I'm not really into beauty channels, but she has such a lovely way of sharing, and she's very natural and very real, and I love that. Chris Robinson, I love watching Chris's stuff. She talks about her early retirement and how she's adapting to retirement. And she talks about it very much from a mindset point of view rather than sort of financially and all of that sort of thing. And Tracy from the Wild West, Tracy Wild, we've never met, we've never spoken in real life, either virtually or in person. But I just love her channel. She's so quirky. She's so warm. You just can't help but love her content. And you guys as well, when you leave comments and you know, give me feedback in the comments, it is so lovely. I do read every one of them. And it's just this amazing community that I wasn't expecting from YouTube. I know they're not people, but I cannot not mention my two dogs, Mac and Lucy, my two little Jack Russell Terriers. They are just the joy of our lives. They make us laugh so much with their antics. I love terriers because they are just so full of personality, and our two are no different. They are just wonderful. They bring us joy every single day. Okay, my next category is products. Now, I'm really not a product person. I'm more of a gadget person. I like gadgets. I'm really actually trying to reduce the number of products that I use. So things like, products that are for skincare or hair care and all of the stuff that we're kind of sold as being a necessary to keep us young and beautiful. I'm trying to reduce them. I don't like the impact that all of that plastic has on the environment. And it's also a huge cost. I can think back to products that I've bought that have cost way more than they should have done, like £100 and things for a moisturiser. And I'm trying to cut back on products. But there are a few that I have enjoyed using. But mainly they are gadgets, I guess, really. Actually, before we go any further, when I am talking about products or gadgets, just to kind of make things clear, I'm not sponsored. This video isn't sponsored. I'm not getting paid by any of these gadgets or products. However, I will put some links into the description. So if you're interested in knowing more about the products that I'm talking about, you can certainly have a look. If there's a link to an Amazon product, it is an affiliate link. So if you click on that link and you purchase the item from Amazon, I might get a small commission from Amazon for you purchasing that product, but it doesn't cost you anything more, and you don't have to. If you can go and find the product elsewhere cheaper, or maybe you're not a fan of Amazon, that's absolutely fine. There's no pressure. I just want to make it easy for you to be able to identify the products and go and find them if you want them. But there is no pressure, I promise. And the first one that absolutely brings me joy as a YouTube creator is my DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera. I just absolutely love this thing. If you're looking for an alternative to using your camera for videoing, whether you're a YouTuber or if you're just out and about wanting to capture memories and holidays and things, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 is just brilliant. The battery life is great. It's small, it's compact. You can do vertical or horizontal video very, very easily. The 4K quality on it is exceptional, and it's got a built-in gimbal, so like a built-in stabilizer, so you don't get that jerky movement if you're going out videoing on the move. It's just, I love it. It's so simple to use. Over the last few years of doing my YouTube, I've tried so many different cameras. I've bought so many different cameras. I had a Micro Four Thirds camera that didn't have a great video functionality, so I bought a Nikon Z30, meant to be a brilliant vlogging camera. It's kind of advertised as the next step up from using your iPhone for simplicity, but actually the camera has so many settings, it is complicated to use if you don't understand cameras. I have the GoPro, which is what I'm filming on now, because I wanted to show you the DJI, but actually I'll put footage over it because I've forgotten to bring it out. I've tried all sorts, but I love the DJI. It is genuinely the easiest camera to learn how to use. It is incredibly user-friendly, especially for those who maybe aren't familiar with cameras particularly. It's very easy. And I think that's what I love about it. And it is so small and compact. I stick it in my handbag wherever I go. It's always with me. And to be honest, I kind of switch between the DJI and my phone. Sometimes my phone is just easier because it's handy. But, it's very, very easy to use the DJI, and it comes with a remote microphone, so you get really good sound quality from it as well. It's just brilliant. I love it. The second things that have really helped me this year have been time cubes. My ADHD means that my time blindness is a real thing, so I can get very absorbed in things. I can start something and completely lose track of time. These little things are absolutely brilliant. I use them all the time. I carry them around with me as well. And basically how they work, they just have a number on the front, 1 minute, 3 minutes. I've got two of them, 5 and 10. This one's got bigger denominations, 15, 20, 30 and 60. And literally I just turn them on. You'll hear it beep. I turn the number up that I want. So if I want 20 minutes, I put it there, stick it to the side, and it will beep when 20 minutes is up. And I just find them so easy because I don't have to think too hard. I think, oh, I've got 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe I've got 10 minutes before a call or before I need to leave to pick my granddaughter up from school. And I'll just get my 10-minute cube. There it is. And I'll flick it on its side. Let me turn it on though. Get my 10-minute cube, flick it on its side. And I know that I don't have to worry because in 10 minutes that's going to buzz and I'm not going to miss my cue to go and get her. Yes, I could use my Apple Watch, but I find it a bit fiddly, and that's just easy. It's cuts out all the friction of setting a timer, and I absolutely love them. They bring me joy. The other thing I love is my iPhone and Apple Watch charging stand. I use this just beside the side of the sofa, and I absolutely love it. I can just magnetically put my phone on there to charge. I don't have to think about cables and where did I put my, my USB cable. And I can also charge my watch when I'm sitting down. What I don't like to do is charge my watch overnight because I like to use it to track my sleep. But if I put it on the stand, it charges from, right up to 100% in about 40-50 minutes. So if I'm just sat in the evening watching TV or I'm sat working on the on my laptop on the sofa, I can just pop my watch onto the stand, it charges, and it doesn't impact my step count because I'm probably not walking around anyway, and it's just dead easy. I don't have the actual charger that comes with the Apple Watch. I find a bit of a faff because it sometimes slips off the back, so you think it's charging and it isn't. But with the stand, it's just so easy. Another product that I absolutely love is this. It's my metal drinks flask, and it's got a metal straw. So it means if I'm out and about, if I buy a coffee, I won't get a takeaway cup. I'll ask them to put it in this. But mostly I use it for cold drinks. I'm not great at remembering to drink enough. And I don't particularly like having to keep going filling glasses up. I tend to be a bit clumsy, so I spill things. But this, it's really stable. It's quite heavy. It keeps my drink cold because it is thermal. And I like the metal straw rather. It comes with a little brush, so you can clean the straw. And I just love it. It goes everywhere. It's certainly helped me to drink more and remember to drink, and it feels nice as well. I know that sounds silly, but I'm quite sort of sensitive to textures, and I like things that feel are nice and tactile, and it's so nice and smooth, and I love the colour, and yeah, just helps me to make sure that I'm drinking plenty. Another gadget I love is my iPhone portable power bank. I absolutely love it. It sticks to the back of my phone, so I haven't got a cable and it's not dangling. It does make my phone a little bit chunky, but it does mean I can still use it and it's charging. So I take it everywhere. And the minute it is plugged in, charging the GoPro, because the GoPro battery wasn't particularly well charged when I started, so I've just plugged the power bank in. So it does come with a cable, and it comes in a nice little pouch. Where have I put the little pouch? I'll have to show you that with B-roll because I can't find it. And it just goes everywhere with me, and it's so easy, and I love the little paw print on there to tell me how much charge it's got left. The other product that I've absolutely loved this year are bamboo toothbrushes. I've gone back to using a manual toothbrush after years and years of using electric. That was because the last time I went to the dentist, he told me I was brushing my teeth too hard and I was pushing the gums back, and my gums were starting to recede more than I wanted them to. And he suggested I used a soft manual brush, and I was very skeptical. because I thought, well, surely I'm going to be harder with a manual than I am with an electric, but I haven't been, and they're sustainable. They're not adding to plastic. I don't have to worry about charging them, and I must admit, still use my electric toothbrush once a week just to kind of make sure that they're feeling like they've had a deep clean. But for most of the time, I use a bamboo brush. They're much cheaper as well than plastic ones. I buy them from Amazon in a pack of 10, and they're just a few pounds. And I change it probably every 3 or 4 months. My husband's even started using them, and I didn't think he would ever go back to a manual after an electric. And I feel like I'm doing my little bit for the planet by not using plastic. So yeah, I love my bamboo toothbrushes. Okay, next thing on the list are experiences, things that I've done this year that have brought me joy. And the first one was our visit to Beamish Open Air Museum up near Durham in the northeast of England. I've been to Beamish many, many years ago. We took the children many years ago. It's this brilliant open air museum where they've basically rebuilt villages and towns throughout throughout history. So there's a one from, I think, the 1700s with a farm and things. And there is an 1800s area with like an old dental surgery and an old co-op and an old pub, and they've deconstructed buildings, moved them to Beamish and rebuilt them to be exactly a replica of how they would have been. And it's grown over the years. Certainly since I was last there, it has grown. They now have a 1950s area, and it's fabulous because a lot of the stuff that they had, now I don't remember the 50s, I'm not quite that old, but I do remember a lot of the things that they had in this sort of museum town from the 1950s. I remember my grandparents having sofas like that, and their television looked like that, and it was so nostalgic. And they use it, I believe, for dementia patients. They bring dementia patients back to that area because, of course, that's for many people who are maybe 20, 30 years older than me, that's what they remember. Whether they'll go on and put a 1980s bit, it feels odd to think that a 1980s could be in a museum, but of course it's, 50 years ago now. Oh my God, that makes me feel old. But it'd be great to think that they might do a 1980s town in the future, and then when people of our generation have dementia, that we can go back and remember the 80s. And, I just think, brilliant idea. If you get the chance to go up and visit Beamish, it's such a great place. Another experience that we had this year was taking all the family on a cruise to the Norwegian fjords. It's the first time we've been on holiday as a family for many years, and it was the first time we'd been able to take my granddaughter with us. So there were 7 of us, and we went on the P&O's Iona to the Norwegian fjords, and it was just magical. It was lovely. Just spending the time together, but also the fjords are just stunning. I think one of the other experiences that brought me so much joy was in January last year. We went on another cruise, another P&O cruise to the Caribbean. I think it was the Eastern Caribbean. My geography isn't great, but we always go in January because both Mark and I have our birthdays in January. And this year I got to spend my birthday, which is the 19th of January, which is normally cold and wet and miserable in the UK. I was swimming in the Caribbean Sea, jumping off the side of a boat into the sea and just chilling on the beach. It was about 30 degrees, well, probably about 28, 29 degrees. And it was magical, this beautiful crystal blue water. And it was just a beautiful experience. We do try and go away every year for our birthdays, so that's probably not a one-off, but this year was just really special. I'm trying to think where we were. I think we were in St. Lucia. Another fabulous experience that really brought me joy this year was celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary, our Pearl wedding anniversary. 30 years together. It seems unbelievable because it only feels like 2 minutes since we were getting married. But, I think that's a really great achievement in this day and age to spend 30 years married. We spent it at a place called Lumley Castle, up again in the northeast. Actually, we did Beamish Museum and Lumley Castle all at the same time for our anniversary. Lumley Castle is a really beautiful old castle. It is a castle that's now been converted into a hotel, and it was just wonderful. It was lovely. Another experience that has been really joyful this year was having people buy me a coffee or give me a super thanks on YouTube, and just knowing that somebody has taken the time to watch my videos and felt they wanted to support me by, buying me a coffee or give me a super thanks. It's just humbling. It is absolutely humbling and absolutely made me feel wonderful. So definitely brought me joy. So to those of you who bought me a coffee using the Buy Me a Coffee link that I put in the description, or who've given me a super thanks, thank you back. It really does mean the world, and it brings me so much joy. Okay, next category is hobbies. And I am the kind of person who has lots of hobbies all of the time. Never get deep into them because I get bored before I really get into them. I normally buy all the kit and then get bored before I really get the chance to use it. But this year, some of our hobbies have really stuck. And the ones that I've really, really enjoyed are things like dancing. Both Mark and I started ballroom and Latin dancing probably nearly 2 years ago. But this year, we've kind of got to the point now where we don't feel like we're complete novices. We actually feel like we're making progress. And we've been able to progress so much, and it's been brilliant. I love our dance teacher. She's absolutely fantastic. We have a really lovely group that we dance with. It's group classes. We don't have private classes, but alongside learning to dance, we've also sort of tapped into the social element that goes with that. So we've been to quite a few social dances and tea dances, and actually we spent a week away just a couple of weeks ago down in Great Malvern at a dance break with the dance teachers that we met on our Caribbean cruise in January. And it was just fantastic. There's such a lovely social side to dancing. Everybody's there for the same thing. Everybody's there because they enjoy dancing. There are some that are better than others, but there doesn't seem to be this competitive, I'm brilliant, you're not, or anything like that. It's very inclusive, and I really like that. And it's also something that Mark and I can do together, and we can learn to do together at the same rate. We can't really do any other kind of physical activities at the same time because he's much fitter than I am. So we've never been able to run together because his jog is my sprint. And he's so much better at most sort of sports and things like that than I am. So we've not really been able to do anything like that together. So dancing is something that we can do. It helps to stay, helps us to stay fit and active. It's increased and improved our social life, and it's given us the opportunity to spend really good quality time together. And sometimes we dance 3 times, sometimes even 4 times a week. And it's just something that we do together, and we love it. Another thing that I've kind of got back into this year is knitting. Now, I haven't been brilliant at staying consistent with it, but I have really enjoyed it. And this started because we have my mother-in-law staying with us a few times a year, and she knits. And my granddaughter was fascinated by grandma knitting. She calls grandma, even though it's her great grandma, because that differentiates her from me, and I'm Nanny, but guess I'm her real grandma. Does that make sense? Anyway, so great grandma knits, and Connie was really interested. So we started teaching Connie how to knit, and she did a really good job of it. And then my daughter latched onto it, and she started learning how to knit, and she's really flying with it. She's knitted all sorts. We've got more bobble hats going around than you can, shake a stick at. But it got me back into knitting, and my mum was a big knitter. And by getting back into it, it's been really nostalgic, actually, remembering all of the times that I watched my mum knitting, and she was the one that taught me how to knit. And I was amazed at how quickly all of the the terminology, the vocabulary, and the actual skill of knitting came back. She obviously taught me well, because I remembered so much. My camper van, we've recently bought the camper van, which I'm sat in now. We call her Pete. Pete is a she. We call her Pete because we bought her in Peterborough, but she is a she. We also, at least I call her my memory making machine, because this is the future for us. We want to go off in the van and have adventures and let Pete take us places that we might not otherwise visit. So we've already been out, and we've only had a Nelly 3.5 weeks, that's all. But we've already had a couple of trips away in her. We're planning a trip to Stratford-upon-Avon Christmas market this weekend. In January, we're going to do a road trip around the UK for our birthdays rather than a cruise. And we're looking forward to taking her into Europe and, yeah, just slowing life down in the van. And it's been lovely, actually. It's really helping me to be a bit more minimalist. I am a bit of a hoarder. My husband's a bit of a hoarder too. So actually living in a tiny space like the van is helping me to just minimise life and slow down. And I love her. I absolutely love her. She's quite old. She's 13 years old, but she's new to us, and she's just... We love Pete. We love Pete. The final category that are things that are bringing me joy this year, I'm going to categorise as life changes. I can't think of another way to categorise it. But this year has definitely been a year for change. And one of the biggest changes has been closing my limited company. It's not fully closed yet. We're in the process of winding it down and closing it. But that's part of the semi-retirement plans, this sort of transition into retirement. And when I say it brings me joy, that might seem a little bit strange, but the reason it has is because I've realised since making the decision to close the business and not doing as much marketing and sales and all of the stuff that you have to do when you run your own business has been like a big weight lifted off me. Now, I've loved having a business. I started my business at the age of 52 after a very long career with the Ministry of Defence as an employee. And the last 7 years or so have been brilliant. You know, I've had an amazing experience of being in business for myself. But since making the decision to close it, I have realised that for the last 7 years, I've lived in a constant state of chronic low-level anxiety. Anxiety about where my next client is going to come from, anxiety about putting myself out there to be judged, anxiety about whether I'm doing it right, getting it wrong, am I going to be successful, am I going to be a failure, am I making good decisions, am I making bad decisions. It's made me realise just how much stress that has placed on me. Not massive sort of high level stress. I'm not talking about, you know, although there have been a couple of times when I think I've been quite close to burnout, but just chronic low level stress and anxiety that has affected my sleep. It's affected my mental health. It's affected my physical health. I think because I've had that chronic stress and anxiety, I've not really prioritised self-care over those years. So my weight has increased, and there have been, you know, lots of things that were brilliant about running my business. But now that I've made that decision, sometimes you don't know things until you look back with hindsight. And with hindsight, I realise I've been quite anxious and stressed constantly for the last 6.5, 7 years. And not having it is definitely making me feel more joyful. The next thing is shifting 1.5 stone in weight. And I think this might be partly tied to the point I've just made about my business, but I had let my health and well-being go over the last few years, and I'd piled on lots of weight. And in the last 2.5 months, I've managed to shift over 20 pounds of that weight. I've still got a good way to go. I would like to lose at least another 20, but I'm doing it slowly and sensibly. I'm feeling so much better for having lost that weight. not just from a cosmetic point of view about, being able to buy nicer clothes or anything like that, or just getting back into some of my other clothes, but more just feeling healthier. It's had a positive impact on my knees. I have arthritic knees, and it's all just, it feels good. So, that's bringing me joy. Seeing the number on the scales go down every week. And it has gone down every single week so far. I've not had any weeks where I've maintained to put on. So all is good. I'm really, really happy about the weight loss. Also, ditching makeup. Now, I'm not saying I've ditched makeup completely. If I go out to a social event, I might put a little bit of makeup on. But I was one of those people that wore a lot of makeup a lot of the time. In fact, all of the time. Going out without makeup on was a no-no. And I've gradually over the years been reducing how much I wear. And this year, certainly in the latter part of this year, I've basically given up wearing it altogether, apart from very odd occasions. And I love it. My face feels so much cleaner all of the time. I'm not having to kind of deal with black mascara eyes. And of course, it's saving me on money as well, because I'm not buying makeup. I used to be a bit of a makeup shopaholic, and I'm not buying it. In fact, I've had a really good clear out of all of the old makeup in my drawers. And it's really quite liberating. I quite like not worrying about having makeup on. I think the other thing that's brought me joy this year is kind of coupled with buying the van and losing weight, and that's getting more active. I've really started in the latter part of this year to prioritise being more active. I joined the gym in the summer. I've been doing aquarobics. I haven't done for a few weeks, just I was poorly and I got out of the habit of it. I need to get back into the habit of that, although it is harder, without a doubt, to go out in the evening when it's dark and wet and cold and get into a cold pool and then get back out again. But, doing aquarobics, getting out more, doing more walking. Since we've had the van, when we've been out in the van, we've done more walks. We went walking up in the Malvern Hills a couple of weeks ago. Dancing is obviously keeping me more active. We were in the Peak District last weekend, walking up, hills up to waterfalls and wandering around Malvern and the Peak District. And I'm not very good at just going out for a walk if it doesn't have a purpose. But when we're out in the van and we're walking the dogs together, again, it's more time with Mark, just the two of us, and the dogs, of course. And it's joyful. I'm really enjoying it. So there you go. There are the things that have brought me joy in 2024. Let me know in the comments, what would you add to that list? Now, they may bring me joy, they may not have brought you joy. We're all very unique and very different. But let me know in the comments, are there any that you resonate with? Or what would you add to the list? What are the things that have brought you joy? And if you haven't sat down and reflected on 2024 and the things that have been joyful, maybe this is a good prompt for you. Maybe we could treat this as an invitation from me to you to sit down and reflect on some of the joyful things from the year. And if you've had a challenging year, most of us have challenges throughout the year. This isn't about dismissing those or undermining those challenges, but it is about balancing it with, actually, has it all been bad, or can we find some joyful moments? And I think when we find those joyful moments, it just helps us to feel better about what we're going through as well. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you very soon. Take care.